Today, talking about self-discipline. And I'm going to tie it into having your business, being an entrepreneur. Obviously, there's many books that have been written about this. I'm going to tie it into something I've discussed before is the 3 B's in life: bed, bath, and bus. Bed is make sure you get enough sleep, 8 hours a night usually. Bath is personal grooming, and to create the B, bus is travel. Travel refreshes. And my experience, you never want to go, but then all the extra work you do getting ready to go, and then the new perspective you get when you're done, makes it well worth it. If you drive yourself into the ground, your productivity drops, and you don't enjoy things. And if there's anything an entrepreneur should do is friggin' appreciate that you have flexibility in time. And not using that flexibility is one of the bigger mistakes some of my family members who had businesses did. My father, for instance, would take 1 week vacation a year. If that wasn't bad enough, we'd stay there till midnight cleaning everything up because he wanted to have a spotless shop when he got back. So we had all this time all year to have a spotless shop, and he just takes 1 single week of vacation a year, and half the time we had to sleep in the next day because we were up so late. Absolutely insane. And then he wonders why no one was interested in working with him. I mean, my brother and I, going for business, none whatsoever. Anyway, self-discipline. So the bed part means getting to sleep, because the topic from yesterday about or several days ago, about seeing opportunities, being able to see opportunities. If you're tired or you have too much to drink and you're hungover, I don't know about you, but I haven't read one book or one discussion about how a great idea was formulated, etc., when there's a hangover involved. So it's probably a good sign that watching how much you drink, particularly before you go to bed, and that falls under the health thing too. And the self-discipline aspect of it basically means getting up and doing something every day. A ritual, for instance. There's a book recommended by Tim Ferriss called Daily Rituals, and he specifically mentions the artists and creators, what they do in their daily ritual. The person who wrote the book, there was composers there was authors, etc., and it's amazing how many of them would spend, either it was morning, it was all over the map. So their rituals would be to write in the afternoon, write first thing in the morning, get up at 4. Apparently the Holy Grail, and his name I can't recall, was a Victorian writer, and apparently he worked for the post office for 21 years before he became a full-time writer. I think he'd written by that point something like 10 books or something, like an outrageous number. Although it was a bit different math back then. There was no real mass paperback market until the turn of the 19th century, 1900s, 1910, 1915. That's where people like Jack Kerouac discovered the publishers everything became cheaper to produce, and so more books were purchased all of a sudden. And Jack Kerouac, in order to fund the fact that he had a family, basically pumped out a lot of books. So, bottom line is, spend the time writing. That author I just mentioned from Victorian times, and I'll put his name in the credits if I can remember, is he was known for having, say, a 3-hour writing time in the mornings. And he would, if he finished a book, he would literally open up a new page and start writing a new book and stop mid-sentence at the 3-hour mark. Apparently he's some sort of rock star in that world. Consequently, I think the point here is getting something done. And no, you're not gonna, and if you're a writer, that was the point. You're not gonna necessarily write something good all day, but at least at least be clear-headed about it. Hemingway, I realize, wrote hungover, but apparently he didn't actually get hangovers. Apparently he processed alcohol quite quickly. I don't know if it's rumor or fact, but he did have it right every day. Stephen King, for instance, in his early days wrote 5,000 words a day. Apparently since he's gotten older and there was a major accident he was in when someone hit him with a truck when he was a pedestrian, I think he's down to 2,000 words a day, which is still quite... Morning. I think most of us would take 2,000 words a day. Can you imagine if you did video blogging and you put out a 10-minute video every day? Eventually, you probably, if you're interested in content, which is also the big one in promotion, well, there's lots of competition these days, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it, one of the reasons, the only reason I'm doing this is that I become better at speaking and doing commentary and creating a narrative. Because I think my thoughts are, and this is why I'm doing it and trying to do it every weekday, is that going forward, things are going to change so dramatically. But naturally, people want to hear storytellers and a narrative to simplify things. So I think there's always going to be a demand. Oh, raspberries. There's always going to be a demand for people who can tell a good story and explain things well, no matter what career or business that you have. And I thought, why not try to be in the top 20% of that field? And I say top 20%. I mean in my area, I'm not talking the world. I doubt very much I'm going to be a Walter Cronkite or Ronald Reagan or Winston Churchill. You know, individuals who inspire. Who knows? Yeah, I realize that Ronald Reagan had Peggy Noonan to do a lot of the writing, although he edited. But you got to try, right? That's it.